Hey Shell Point, John High, your Academy Manager with you today to talk about another session we have coming up in our Academy. This one is going to be on Wednesday, February 19th, 10 o'clock in the Grand Cypress Room. And what we have here is we have another one of our outside organizations that we've asked to come in and present about different opportunities that you have to get involved with them here in our community. And the name of the group is called SCORE, and I am here with Mike Hochschild, who participates in SCORE, to tell us a little more. So Mike, tell us a little more about your involvement, your background, and then we'll talk about the session.
Okay. Well, SCORE stands for the Senior Corps of Retired Executives.
Okay,
And
good.
I certainly fit into that.
Okay,
And I guess
category.
most of us here at Shell Point do as well.
The Senior Corps of Retired Executives.
Yes.
Good, love it.
And it's an organization that was founded about 50 years ago. It's headquartered in Herndon, Virginia, and it has over 300 chapters around the United States.
Very cool.
Okay.
Good. And so we have a SCORE chapter here in the greater Fort Myers area?
And we have a SCORE chapter here. We have about 30 mentors,
Okay.
all volunteers,
Yes.
and very dedicated to
I bet.
what they're doing.
I bet.
There's a total of around 10,000 SCORE mentors around the country.
Wow, I did not know that. Very interesting.
Right.
Very cool. I like it. Okay. So tell us a little about your background. What were you
Okay,
doing before you got here to Shell Point?
Well, I was actually born in South Africa, and my first job out of high school was working for a famous news agency called Reuters. I worked in their commercial division.
Wow. Okay.
And I started learning about the raw materials business.
Okay.
And eventually I moved out of that, having really become quite interested in it. And I joined certain companies first of all in London, then in Amsterdam, and then in New York, where I got training. In those days, one didn't always necessarily go to college. You could go and get your training at these places, and some of them even charged you to do that.
Okay. Those are some pretty fascinating places to do it, and probably some pretty big businesses and economy going on there.
Well, certainly in my field, in the mining and metals and minerals business.
Wow. Yes. Very interesting. Now we're going to have a presenter, Jim Bollinger, is going to be coming. Tell us a little about Jim and what his role is with SCORE.
Okay, well, Jim is a senior member of the executive of the SCORE chapter here at Fort Myers.
Good. And
in charge of the outreach committee.
Okay.
I'm actually on the outreach committee as well.
Okay. Very good. So talk to me a little bit about what have you done with SCORE here locally? What are some things maybe you've been involved with?
Well, maybe I could just tell you why I was interested in SCORE, if that's interesting for you.
That is very interesting to me, and I think it'll help our listeners. Tell me.
Okay, so I retired when I was 80 years old. I worked for 60 years, flat out.
Retired when you're 80.
Yeah. And when I did retire, I wanted to do something else. I still wanted to do some volunteer type work. I don't really like getting up in the morning without something to do. And I found out a lot of people around Shell Point do the same thing.
Yeah, I agree. Good.
So I was on vacation up in Maine 2 years ago, and a friend of my buddy up there happened to work for SCORE, and he was telling me all about it, and I said, gee, that's something for me.
Yeah.
So when I got back down here to Fort Myers, I found the local chapter and joined up.
Wow, it sounds like an interesting organization to be a part of, and I think that many of our Shell Point residents may have some interest here, right?
Well, I think so. I've spoken to a couple of them, and one gentleman has already told me that he's going to be joining. He's asked for the papers, and we're waiting for him to send them in.
All right, very good. Well, Shell Point, here it is. This is kind of a specialized session here, especially for you former business leaders out there. Do you still have an itch to get connected and mentor young business people or smaller businesses here in the Fort Myers area? So here's what you got to do. You got to come to this session, learn more about SCORE. Between Jim and Mike, they'll be here to help kind of connect you the right way and get you to part of these different volunteer opportunities that they have. Once again, this session is on Wednesday, February 19th, 10 o'clock in the Grand Cypress. Sign up through the concierge desk. We'll see you there.